Hi everyone, I'm Kat. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make pineapple and palm tree cookies. If you haven't ordered your kit yet, you can at candylandcrafts.com for this class and many others. For today's class, you're going to be needing royal icing, brown food coloring, green and yellow, pastry bags, a little spray bottle if you have it. If you don't, that's totally fine. I just like to use it when I'm thinning my icing because it helps control how much water is actually going into my icing. And then also I like to use a scribe tool. If you don't have one, they do sell them at Candyland Crafts, and also you can use a toothpick instead. It's just anything sharp and pointy to help guide the icing into the crevices of the cookie where you want it to go and pop any air bubbles that may arise. So let's get started. Alright, I'm going to show you how to make your royal icing. If you ordered the kit from Candyland Crafts, you probably received a royal icing mix. If not, you can make your own royal icing. You just need some meringue powder. So you're going to want to grab your royal icing mix and whatever flavoring you would like to flavor your icing. You're going to put the whole bag into a mix. When making your royal icing in a mixer, if you're using a mixer at home, make sure you use your paddle attachment. Your whip attachment will add too much air to your icing and you'll get more bubbles than you would want. If you can't find pre-made icing mix, it's just powdered sugar and meringue powder. If you can't find meringue powder, you can use egg whites, but they should be pasteurized. We also sell meringue powder at Candyland Crafts. If you are making royal icing with real egg whites, make sure that when you store your royal icing, it must be stored in the fridge. When flavoring your royal icing, using alcohol-based and water-based flavorings are the best. You can use oil-based, it just can, if you add too much, it can cause issues with drying time. So you just want to be careful with that. So when starting your royal icing, you just want to add a little bit of water at a time until you get like a thick paste. And then to thin it out, you can use a spray bottle or just add a little bit of water at a time. So right now I have my royal icing at a thicker, creamy consistency, as you can see when I mix it. So right now I'm going to add my flavoring in, and then I'm going to paddle it for about 4 to 5 minutes, kind of slow, so it aerates it, and then it gets that nice white bright color that you look for in royal icing. Now that I paddled it for a few, you can see how it's nice and white, and it's like a thick, almost buttercream frosting consistency. When I make royal icing, I like to make one big batch, and I like to make it in this consistency and then thin it down as I need it. So I'm gonna put this in a container and then take out what I need and dye it and thin it out. So let's go. The first color I'm gonna make with our royal icing is yellow for the pineapple. So I'm gonna take some out of the big batch of icing that we made and I'm gonna put it into a separate dish. Don't need that. You don't need much. Make sure you cover up the icing that you're not using. And I'm going to be using lemon yellow. Okay, so everyone who decorates cookies with royal icing has a preference of how they like to flood and ice their cookies. Some like to have a separate outline icing. Some like to do it with just one icing. I like to do it with one icing. It's usually called about 20-second icing or 15 seconds. It's totally your preference. So all that means is that when you draw a line through your royal icing, or if you lift it up and drag it, the time it takes for that line to reattach to each other and disappear, it takes 15 to 20 seconds. So we need to thin out our yellow. So what I have is a spray bottle. And you just do a couple spritz of water at a time. And using a spray bottle to do this can help control how much water you're adding at a time to your royal icing, which can be a big help. But if you always do just thin it out too much, you could just always add some powdered sugar to it, thicken it back up. Any more? So we're going to be doing 20 or 15 seconds, whichever you prefer, icing for our yellow, for the pineapple, and for our brown. We aren't going to be using it for our green. Our green's going to be a stiff icing. So what that means is the royal icing is going to be able to hold its shape when it's piped out onto our cookie. So I'll show you how that looks. First, I want to show you how the 15-20 second icing looks. You can see as I'm doing this, it's loosening up more and more. And I like to mix my colors right into a Tupperware container, so then when I'm mixing my other colors or whatever else I'm doing, I can just put the lid on it so they don't dry out in the meantime until I'm ready to use it. And then I'm not transferring it from a bowl to a container and back and forth. It also just saves you a lot of dishes too. Okay, see how I do a line like that, and then I count 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, it's a little longer than 20. Okay, so let's do about 2 more spritz, see where that gets us. That's the right consistency. I like mine just a little bit looser, so 1 more spritz for me. Okay. To start with, if this is your first time doing this, I would start with 20 seconds because that gives you more time to get your cookies done. Okay, the next color I'm gonna do is the brown. Okay, so I made 2 browns. This is gonna be for the palm tree trunk. This is a lighter brown. This is a 15 second icing. And then I made a darker brown, and this is gonna be for the coconuts. This isn't really a 20 second icing because I like it to hold its shape more. So I'd say about 30 seconds this is, because I want it to hold that circular shape. And then the next we'll dye the green for the leaves of the palm tree and the pineapple. Oh, and speaking of air bubbles for your icing, you see how I dyed this icing first and it was sitting here for just like 5 minutes. You see how all the air bubbles pop up? This is a great tip when you're making your icing and dyeing them. Let your icing sit covered and get all those air bubbles to come up, and then you can pop as many as you can. This will help when we're decorating our cookies, because then you'll have less air pockets and less bubbles pop up on your icing and your cookies to help get that nice smooth finish that you're gonna be looking for. Okay, for the green, I'm not gonna add any water to this because I like it nice and stiff. You see how when I mix it and move my spoon, it holds its shape? Perfect. That is what we were looking for, because we're gonna pipe kind of 3D leaves coming off our palm tree and our pineapple. I like the bright green because I like the bright colors. If you want a darker green, that's your preference. Add more, add less. Totally up to you. Okay, so the first cookie we're going to decorate is the palm tree. So you're going to want to fill your pastry bag with your light buttercream. I'm going to show you how to outline and fill your cookies with a tipless bag. So you know your icing, it sat for a little bit. You see all the little air bubbles? Just pop as many as you can. I have using my scribe that I find great for this. I just go in and pop. Oh, sorry, my voice went out there. And just pop all the little air bubbles you can. See them? Pop, 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 pop. Just pop them, and that will help So then we're gonna fill our pastry bag. And what I like to do is I like to tie a rubber band at the end of my pastry bag. It helps the icing. So when I have my icing in my bag, as you can see, I just tie the top off with a rubber band. So that just helps the royal icing not spill out. So to make a tipless bag, you really don't wanna cut a big hole. You want it to be small. So let me see if I can get this in focus for you. There we go, okay. So I'm gonna cut probably just about right there. It's a very small hole, and then you're just gonna take your fingers and push that piping bag this way, also across the crease line. This just helps round out the tip. And then see the extra little excess of the bag? I like to just trim it off a little bit. Right here, you're gonna squeeze, keeping pressure nice and slow. You're gonna outline the trunk. And then now what you're gonna do is you're gonna flood it completely. So just squeeze, keeping constant pressure. You want it to build up to get that nice, thick, puffy looking frosting icing. You want it to be puffy. And this is when a scribe comes in great hand, because then you just take your scribe and you move it around. You can push the icing into other spots to fill out any holes or pop any air bubbles that may get there. If you don't have a scribe, that's fine. You can use a toothpick to do the same thing. So then you can put this to the side and let this dry, and I will show you another way you could also do a palm tree trunk. The second way you can do a palm tree trunk is you're gonna start the same way we did before. You're gonna outline the trunk. Made a little mistake, but that's what the scribe is great for also. You can just push it back. Okay. Then I'm gonna do little sections. So what you're gonna do is you're only gonna flood the bottom section and the top section. Using your scribe again, just fill in any holes. So you're gonna want to let that sit and the other trunk sit for at least 30 minutes before we move on to the next step. So in the meantime, we'll start our pineapple cookies. Just like I showed you with the palm tree, I'm gonna show you 2 different ways also to decorate your pineapple cookie. So you're gonna cut the tip the same size that you did the palm tree. Small hole, and remember to push a line on the crease to make a nice circle. And then I trim off the little excess off the bag. So you're going to outline your pineapple cookie. And then you're gonna flood it. So squeeze, get nice and puffy. And again with the scribe, just push it in any holes, any air pockets. Again, if you don't have a scribe, toothpick works great also. If you don't have a toothpick, if you have a flower nail, you can use that too. Anything sharp and pointy to help push your icing where you'd like it to go. So then now you can just give it a little shake too if you want to help settle it. And now you put this to the side and grab another cookie. The second way I want to show you how to decorate a pineapple cookie is you're going to outline it just like you did the other one. Okay, but this time you're gonna make diagonal crosses across it, so 1, 2. And then you're gonna go the other way. And then you're gonna flood like every other row. So I'm gonna flood this row. Then I'm gonna flood this one. If you flooded all the squares at one time, it would all just become one and you wouldn't get the definition. Go back with my scribe, get any holes that I missed. And just like with the palm trees, we're gonna let this sit for at least 30 minutes before we do the next round or layer on the cookie. Okay, after your pineapple cookie has sat for a little bit, then you can, for about at least 30 minutes, you can do the next layers on top. So for this one, we're gonna do the checkered board on top now. And oh, there you go. And then just clean up the sides. Then you can take your brown, and you know pineapples have those little spikies. Just one little dot inside each little square on your pineapple. And then you can put this to the side and let this rest for at least 30 minutes. Okay, for the other pineapple, now we're going to fill the rest of the squares that we did. So then now you're going to let this one rest for at least 30 minutes for the other one so it's hardened, and then you'll put the brown dots on it like we did the other one. As you can see though with this pineapple, this one gives it more dimension, though it takes more time. So it's up to you, total preference on what you would like to do. Okay, so for our palm tree, after it's sat, we're going to make like X's down the trunk to give it some more dimension. So one this way. So if that happens, this is where a scribe or a toothpick come in handy. You just gently scrape it off. Remember gently, because the top is only crusted, it's not dry. Good. So now you put that to the side. You can grab your other trunk, and now we're gonna fill this one in the middle. So just like the pineapple cookie, this one has more dimension to it, but it also takes more time. So total preference again of how you want to do it. And you can also, you don't have to do them in big separation like I did this one. You could also do it smaller separations too. So totally up to you, your cookies. Okay, so now we're gonna do the palm tree leaves. So you're gonna get your royal icing in your pastry bag, and I'm gonna show you how to cut a V into it so it gets a leaf tip. So you're gonna cut one slit, then you're gonna cut another slit, and that's gonna give you this V shape. So make sure you crease your bag. So when we're piping our icing onto our cookie, you want to hold, see how you cut the V? You want to hold it this way, so the skinny side is up facing you. So you're going to follow the motion that the palm tree leaves are going. So you're going to start in the center. Get this in focus. There we go. Okay. So you're going to start in the center of your cookie. You're going to squeeze. You're going to let it ruffle and then pull straight out. You're going to do the other one. Squeeze, let it ruffle, pull. Squeeze, let it ruffle, and pull. So you're just going to follow along the direction that the cookie leaves are already going. Now I'm going to let this sit for 30 minutes. We're going to do the same thing on our pineapple cookie that we just did on our palm tree cookie. Except this time I'm going to hold it that it's facing me. So we're going to follow, we're going to squeeze starting there and pull out. Squeeze, let it ruffle, pull out. Squeeze, let it ruffle, pull out. Let it ruffle. And let it ruffle. Great. And then actually, I want to add a couple right here. Good. And that is your pineapple cookie. Yeah. Okay, so now our other pineapple cookie that we didn't finish, after that sat, now you can put the brown dots on it like we did with the other cookie. This one already had the dimension built in, so we didn't have to do those lines. If you had an airbrush machine, you could also airbrush some green around your yellow pineapple, so then it gives it also more depth, like a pineapple has that slight green. Not everyone has an airbrush machine, that's why I didn't show you that. And if you want more dimension, you can also do brown lines, or you can do the lines over again. Totally up to you. So you're gonna let that sit, and then you're gonna do the leaves like you did on the other pineapple cookie. Okay, so now we're gonna do our coconuts. So this is gonna be the dark brown, and you're gonna cut the tip the same way that we did for the brown and the yellow. And don't forget to crease it. So this is gonna take steps like we did for the trunk and for the pineapple. So you're gonna build up one circle for the coconut, depending how big you want your coconuts to be, and using a scribe or a toothpick you can round it out. So you're gonna let that sit for at least 30 minutes, then we're gonna do the next one. That one sits for 30 minutes, and then the next one sits for 30 minutes. Okay, now I'm gonna put the next coconut. And then I'm gonna let that sit, and then we'll put the last and third coconut. Okay, so you're gonna add your third coconut. Thank you for making palm tree and pineapple cookies with me today. I hope you had fun. When you are drying your royal icing cookies, best to leave them out on a sheet tray and dry overnight. If you don't want that to wait that long overnight, at least 6 to 10 hours, they need to dry. When storing your cookies, when they're dry, make sure they're stored in an airtight container away from the sun. The sun can cause the icing to fade. And also put a piece of wax or parchment paper between the layers of the cookies, and they're usually good up to 2 to 3 weeks as long as they are stored properly. Again, you can order your kits at candylandcrafts.com. If you have any questions, you can find me at Pastry Mama on Instagram and Facebook. Have a good day. Bye.